Hello and good day to everyone. Welcome to all our guests watching our live stream today. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy. My name is Vanessa Vergara and I will be your host for today. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this year's 2021 Carousell Online Property Expo. I'm sure you are as excited as I am to be here today. In the past few days, we have learned a lot from our esteemed speakers with topics ranging from the 2021 property outlook and discussions on how to get started when investing in real estate property. We've been feeding you with tips and steps on how to get your home buying journey off the ground. And for today's topic, I'm sure you all have heard about the different property types in the market today. It can be quite daunting trying to understand the terms like ano bang RFO, pre-selling, and foreclosed properties. Which one can give me the most bang for my buck? And if you've been going through these questions in your head like I have been, this talk is for you. When buying your very first property, it is important to know the different types so that you yourself will get the best value for your investment. And with us to share his experience about today's topic, he is the #1 auctioneer in our country today. How exciting! He pioneered the auction sales system in the country and has bid out over 4,000 real estate assets worth more than 8 billion pesos. All over the Philippines, he has handled various real estate developers as an exclusive marketer. He also produced the very first real estate TV show in the Philippines called Property Forum. For years, Noli has acquired all sorts of real estate, from raw land, houses, and lots, buildings, and even an island. He has done every kind of real estate strategy, including holding, fixing, leasing, and flipping. Please, everyone, give a very warm virtual welcome to the Managing Director and CEO of El Subastahero Auctions, or better known as the King of Foreclosures, Mr. Noli Alleje. Good day, Mr. Noli.
Good day to you, Vanny, and to everybody here now at this exciting, exhibit. I miss walking through each and every booth, but I think we're gonna have to do it virtual this time.
Yes, exactly. It's important to keep safe, but I assure you, everyone is just so excited to meet you. And all right, so let's begin the discussion right now. I'm sure our guests can't wait to learn more, and even myself. I have been looking at different properties, just trying to learn more before I do some investments. And this talk is absolutely perfect for those who are in the same place as I am right now. So when you're ready, let's begin.
Let's
Okay,
go.
so let's do it. Everyone, I hope you're so excited too. So the first question will be, what are the stages of real estate assets?
Okay, being a marketer, let's pick it up from the marketing point of view. When a property goes from off the plans all the way to the turnover. So first you got the market planning stage wherein people look, are they going to develop in this area? Is there a market for this? And are people going to buy? And then they start launching it, and a lot of people come into the pre-selling stage. Pre-selling means that they just recently got their license to sell, and when you go to the site, there's nothing there. It's still raw land, or maybe you have got board up fences and everything. No? And then
Mhm.
they start breaking ground. When they start breaking ground, then you can feel the prices to start adjusting. So you get into these developmental milestones. Like, for example, one of the most famous milestones is what they call the groundbreaking. Poop, you see the price move a little. Then you see the topping off. One of the best moments to really evaluate the property if you're going to jump in at the pre-selling stage because now you know it's going up. And then we have the turnover. The turnover stage normally happens around 3 to 4 years if you're talking about condominiums. And if you're talking maybe a horizontal development like house and lot, maybe 2 to 3 years. Yeah? At this point of time, your prices are supposed to have matured. You would have paid for your full down payment, and now you're about to get into your either full payment or your bank financing. So you're now living in your house. It's either you are now a very happy payer and you continue paying religiously, or you go through a hiccup in life and you forget to pay or are not able to pay your monthly amortization, then comes the foreclosure. So that I think would go from the thought to the actual asset. No?
Okay, so this is very interesting to learn, especially those who are planning to invest, so that you can really plan ahead for long-term goals and, of course, the long-term payments that you have to hit. Thank you so much for sharing that. Next question will be, what can one expect when investing in a foreclosed property? Let's talk about price, range, and the condition of the property. All these little assets I'm sure you are absolutely the expert of. But before you answer that, can you help us define the term dirty assets?
Okay. When you go to the foreclosure proceedings, from the sheriff's auction or what they call the public auction to the main property being now transferred to the bank. There are some legal cases that come into the picture. Sometimes the former owner doesn't want to leave the property, or sometimes the property is just really so dilapidated already. This is what I call the dirty assets. And for me, I've always had this statement in my mind, or maybe it's my mantra when I buy foreclosed properties. The more basura, the more I like it, and the dirtier the asset, the more I want to buy it. Huh?
Oh,
So would that shock you, Vanny?
yes, it is actually. I want to know why. Please tell me more.
Okay, because the more basura and the dirtier it is, the better price you can negotiate with the bank. No? So now you're talking about pricing. Years ago, there was really big price advantage between the foreclosed property and a regular owned property, secondary market or developer asset. For me, the foreclosed property would always have a price advantage because it was once owned, once used, and the values are sometimes 4 years ago values. No? And some have nice payment terms, some are spot cash. So I would still go for a foreclosed property on those aspects. No?
That is very interesting. Guys, what I just learned from this is it has it's very different buying real estate than other assets wherein, as he mentioned, the dirtier the better because of the price and because as I believe real estate, of course, is a good investment and you can always build up on it and really, like, as I mentioned, I think our speaker is an expert as well in flipping houses, so you can always improve the asset, but get it in the best price. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Our next question is, where can I go to find foreclosed properties?
Foreclosed properties, actually, you have to go right now. No? There's a ruling by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas that all the branches are supposed to carry a physical copy of all their listings. It has to be
Oh,
posted. No? But since, because of this pandemonio that we are in right now, we just can't go around anymore. So you have to go other online sites and you download from either acquired assets or foreclosures. No? Now you will also notice that some you will not be able to download, so you really have to look at it from online. What you start off with in evaluating which property you want to look at is because I can see the properties in each and every bank. So yeah, it's very exciting to look at it. But always start off geographically. Because, when you go to a bank, you see like 10,000 lists, all the way Apari, all the way down to Zamboanga. And you see, house and lots, vacant lots, industrial lots, commercial lots, condos, memorial lots, everything is there in that listing. So you have to try to focus, or else we are going into your lula move. Malulula ka sa dami.
but especially that during this pandemic right now, a lot of people have time, and I think looking into the different properties as mentioned, I mean, it could be very overwhelming because you said there could be thousands of listings, but they can look at the specific location that interests them. So thank you very much. And with this, I would like to ask, what is a better buy if we do look at it from a bank, or do we go to pag-ibig?
If you're looking for lower value properties, I would go Pag-ibig. I actually recently, during the pandemonium, I was able to acquire, I think, 9 house and lots in Pag-ibig. And I also bought a subdivision in in one of my favorite banks, which is Metro Bank. No?
Oh,
And just to give you an inkling, the pag-ibig properties are what you call, if the property is still there, then the former owner is also still there. But if the former owner is no longer there, the house is also gone. Pati the inodoro, they take it. No?
oh
So
my.
you have to always be very wary. Either bank or pag-ibig, they all have their good foreclosed properties, which you have to have a keen eye for. But one of the most important things is you have to, you know, physically see the property or have somebody video the property for you if you're from abroad or you cannot reach the property. But both are good.
Okay, thank you for that tip. Now, really quick, I would like to ask a follow-up question. You mentioned you bought some assets during this pandemic. Is it a good market time right now?
It's a good time to buy, especially in the provincial area. No? I would really advise is you buy the older foreclosed properties and not the new ones yet on the list. Because banks would always say, oh, lumang inventory na yan, pwede mo na bitawan. You look at it and say, it's like, for example, you have a store and you have old inventory you want to get rid of so that there will be enough space for your new inventory. And I normally buy now in the provincial area more than in the Metro Manila.
Okay. And actually, you know what? Due to this pandemic, a lot of people have actually been, looking out to provincial areas or outside of Metro Manila because they would like to be closer to nature and everything. So thank you for that tip. And with that, I know that you mentioned that you should always physically look at the property or have somebody video it. But what else are the essential questions one should ask when checking out a foreclosed property?
Well, the most important thing, whether it be foreclosed, pre-selling, or whatever, no? The first thing you should really look at are what you call our titles. Either our transfer certificate or titles, original certificate of titles, which is for the land, and your condominium certificate of title for the condo. You always have to check it with the Register of Deeds by getting a certified true copy. Also, you're supposed to get a certified true copy of your assessors, your tax declaration. This for me is the first most important step because this is the most important document for your ownership for whatever it is. Even if the property is in the bank, you still have to get your certified true copies and do your due diligence. Very important on that. Now, yung ibang condominium, wala pang title kasi paakyat pa lang, pre-selling pa lang, di ba? Then you have to check on the license to sell. That's one of the most important things that you have to do. Huh?
Okay, noted on that, and I hope our viewers have taken note on that as well. Speaking of, Carousel actually also offers foreclosed property listings, and it would be very perfect for those viewers who want to stay safely at home, or also those who are not in the Philippines. So, with this question, I would like to ask: can somebody from abroad invest in a foreclosed property in the Philippines?
Oh, yes. As I mentioned, they just have to go to the website of the banks and download the list, or even Pag-ibig has its regular auction listings. No? What they have to do now is to get in touch with the bank officers. You'd have to be a bit more patient now because of the pandemonio. A lot of these bank officers are actually working from home. They don't have immediate access to their documents. So just be patient, and I'm sure they're gonna get back to you because our banks are motivated sellers. Remember that.
Exactly. So, and also, let's not forget, you can also check out the listings in Carousel. So, everyone, if you have spare time, you're looking for something to invest in, and we have the expert of foreclosures talking about foreclosures right now, maybe this is something you would like to look into, right? And with that, our next question is: what are the advantages of buying a foreclosed property versus getting a pre selling or an RFO unit? And of course, what are the risks involved with this? So, perhaps we can
Okay.
talk about advantages first. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. One big advantage of a foreclosed property, as I mentioned, is the pricing points. You can get it a bit lower, but you have to calculate. Especially if it's a once loved, now hated property. This is like ukay ukay. You know, you really have to look at it. A lot of people buy ukay. They go to the shop, they smell it, they look for the butas. Same when you're buying foreclosed property. You have to go to a very tedious due diligence. Like if you buy pre-selling, all you see is a map, a beautiful drawing, do a background check on the developer, and you can move forward. Right? You can also do a secondary market. Somebody's reselling a property. It's the same thing that you can go to. Why I love foreclosures is because I find it very challenging to be able to acquire a foreclosed property. So from coal, I get a diamond. That's
Yeah.
why I normally like to look into the foreclosed property sector.
And as they say, one man's trash can be another man's treasure. Especially,
Exactly.
you said you like the mud boot, the dirty part of it because you get it in
Yes.
the best price, and it's property. You can always build, you can always flip it, you can always make it better. So amazing. And
Yeah.
I know even I am actually looking into. I'm very interested in foreclosure after this
Mm.
little discussion we're having now. And for our viewers at home, can we let them know how do I or our viewers at home buy a foreclosed property?
Okay. Vani just said it. Carousel has got one of the best databases for foreclosed properties. You just go to their website and do a search, and they can pick it up from there. Now, if you want to go straight, you just have to go to the bank, either physically or, as I said, online, and you just have to mention it to them that you want to buy this foreclosed property. I
Mhm.
can tell you that the branch manager would be more than willing to help you because this is part of their what do you call
Yes.
that? The KSAs, that they have to help in selling their foreclosed properties. So just have to touch base.
Okay. So with this, I would like to ask, what around is the timeline if you're interested in a foreclosed property so people can plan ahead? Would it take about 6 months for the negotiation, 1 year?
Hmm. Okay, no naman. That's pretty long. I would get bored if I get into something like that. Normally, you submit your offer. So
Yes.
you have to go visit the property, check it out. And if you want to ask for rebajo or tawad, di ba? A
Mhm.
discount of what you're buying, you have to justify it why. A lot of people think that foreclosed property, they just go to the bank and say, I want 50% off, but you have to say why. Maybe the house and lot is no longer a house. It's just a lot. And since the bank said 1,000 properties, 10,000 properties, they don't get to visit it all. So you bring this up to them, show them where it's bulok, show
Mhm.
them the part that's sira, show them the problematic parts. And then you're able to get a better buy on this. Yeah? So that would be one of the good processes to be able to submit your letter of intent to purchase. Now, if you're asking for a discount, if you're not picking it up off the price list on their site, that means that they have to go meet up on it. So they have like a credit meeting or an asset management meeting to be able to submit your proposal. Don't
Okay.
forget also to submit your payment terms that you find affordable and comfortable. Do not force yourself to acquire a property because use foreclosure will just be another foreclosure.
Yes.
And we don't want that to happen. No?
Unnecessary
So
stress. Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Mhm. All right, thank
that's
you. And
it.
are actually a lot of us are curious. How does an auction work?
Well, what's really an auction, which I actually went through the process of. We were the favorite auctioneers in after the Asian financial crisis. So 2003, 2000 up to 2008, we were doing auctions for almost all the banks, big major banks, small rural banks, small
Wow.
commercial banks, and that. And basically, what we were looking at was the asset itself. You have to evaluate the asset. Yeah? You have to see why it's going to be saleable, and then negotiate the price that we put on the auction, and then we list it. One important thing what we did in our auctions was there was always a visit to the property. Kailangan makita mo yung property, And I had area partners all the way from Apari down to Zamboanga who can actually physically pick you up in the airport, take you to the property, show it to you. Then we had our physical auction date itself. And we would hold it in Metro Manila, and we had call a friend because the bidder was in Zamboanga, so you had to have somebody during the auction while talking to him in the cell phone. Wala pang social media nun. So we had all styles of being able to develop and sell through an auction. And that's how an auction goes through. You go into the auction room, tapos pataasan kayo ng presyo. Just like you watch in the movies, di ba? When they're auctioning all these antiques. So that's exactly what we went to. And it was very exciting because in the same room, we were bidding out 40,000 peso properties. and 135 million peso property. In the
Mhm.
same room, we had people arriving in tricycles and in their stainless jeeps. And we had people in Mercedes Benzes and vans and Ferraris, and all in the same room. And all in the same room.
That's amazing. Wow, how
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. It's actually like the movies, everyone. Okay, so before we run out of time, let me go to the next question. Can you share more insights about flipping foreclosed properties?
Okay, that's one of the most exciting things in foreclosed property is the flip, because
Mhm.
that's when you maximize your profit. A lot of people always think make flipping big money. Actually, if you flip small money every day, it's better. No? So I always
Yeah.
tell my friends when they ask, Noli, where would you like to invest? Ako always, small things every day, small assets every day. Important to know when you're flipping is how much are you buying it for? How much is the market value today? What is the price you are purchasing it for? What are the going prices in your neighborhood? What's the cost of your development? And how are you going to sell your property? Because remember, exit is the most important thing. Y- And you start evaluating the property when you buy it. How much are you going to negotiate it for? Remember, in real estate, you make money when you buy and you lose money when you sell. Because when you lose it, tatawaran ka. Ikaw
Exactly.
naman, when you buy, tawaran mo rin, di ba? Para bawi. So, that's the exciting thing about flipping. But it's gotta be fast. It's gotta be quick. If not, you start bleeding.
Sorry, how long would you say a flipping project that you'd normally handle take?
We normally look at 3 months repair,
Okay.
renovation, and 2 months to sell. So we normally
Okay.
have a 5 month cycle.
Okay. Perfect. Noted on that. So, what type of property would be the easiest to lease out or flip?
I would say always one with structure. Right now, the condos, medyo hindi maganda masyado kasi there's too many condos in the market. But there are a lot of demand for properties in I would say, in the village of Metro Manila. You know the village, huh? The gilid of the village.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So,
I
for
love
example, you don't
that.
buy in Metro Manila, but you buy in the Rizal, Cavite, Laguna, which is
Yes.
the hottest areas today. And
Yes.
normally what people would like to flip on is a house and lot. Kasi mahirap mag-flip ng vacant lot. So many permits, so many authorizations, so many approvals, plans to do and everything. And like if you buy an existing house and lot that's dilapidated, just go for repairs and renovation.
Okay. Noted on that. I love it. I love also your terms. So we've been seeing a lot of pasalo or for assumed
Mhm.
properties on the internet lately. What are the risks involved and how to secure these types of properties?
So actually, the pasalo, these are people who bought 4 or 5 years ago. They
Mhm.
either bought it with a 20% down payment with balance payable now. And all of a sudden, they lost their jobs. They're no longer bankable. There's also the
Mhm.
other ones who actually paid for their property through a loan 2 years ago and now are paying their monthly amortizations, and they find out they no longer have money to be able to continue the amortizations. No? It's almost the same like getting a foreclosed property. It's actually, I would say, I call this the distressed property portion. Huh?
Mhm.
So medyo, help me, like that. Pero what's important there is, remember, some people say pasalo, but then they're making so much money out of the flip from their problem. No? So me, I always ask is, how much did you pay for the property? How much have you paid up for the property? And how much are you asking for? So if you paid up 500,000, siguro naman 500,000 lang dapat ang hinihingi niya. No?
Exactly.
Okay, but do not get into the problem of the pasalo scam where people tell you na sige, para di na tayo magbayad ng developers transfer rights, no? This is pretty big now, from 50,000 to around 300,000. No? So what they do is they say, bigyan mo na sa akin ng pera and I will continue to pay for the monthly amortization. The problem there is you, as the new buyer, you are not recognized by the financial institution or by the developer. So if something happens to the buyer or the buyer runs away with the seller, runs away with it,
Yes.
who you? Di ba? Nobody knows you. That's a problem.
Okay.
And when you do pasalo, always best, there's already a structure to
Mhm.
be able to move on. No? And where do you find all these pasalos? in Facebook. They're all over the place. Actually, there are Facebook groups already that actually say pasalo condo, pasalo bahay. You just have
I've
to
seen
look for
that.
it.
Yes, I've seen that a lot actually. So it's so good that we're talking about it right now.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
All right, so I am going to go to our last question, and I think would be my favorite and yours too. If you
Okay.
had an extra 1 million pesos in cash, and you can only spend it on one type of property, what would it be?
I would buy a house and lot. Not a house and lot, but I would buy 10 house and lots
Oh,
of
wow.
100,000 each so that
Mhm.
I can spread my risk over 10 areas. No? It's like getting an apartment or multi-dwelling or just one house and lot.
Mhm.
The vacancy problem of one house and lot is 100%.
Yes.
Unlike the vacancy problem of a 10-door apartment can go from 20% to 80%. Imposible naman hindi mapupuno yung apartment mo or wala kang kahit isa o dalawa. No? So it's the same thing I would do. I would spread it, to small accounts. I don't normally acquire 5 million peso houses, 10 million peso because it's very hard to flip. I would go really look for 10
Affordable.
houses, maybe in Pag-ibig, 10 houses and flip the 10 houses.
Amazing. And yes, you know what?
Yeah.
They as they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. As we said, you're gonna spread it in different investments. That is such a great
Yes.
learning from. So thank you
That's
so
like,
much.
yeah.
So go
But
ahead.
let me add one
Okay.
item there. No? You see, you can also do what they call geofarming. So if you're gonna start buying a foreclosed property, don't buy one in Bulacan, then one in Laguna, then one in Mindoro, di ba? If you're gonna go Laguna, focus on Laguna. If you're
Okay.
gonna go Interlac, you buy Interlac para medyo malapit-lapit ang monitoring mo and managing.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Barry.
No, thank you very much. And before everyone, I hope you learned as much as I did. I'm actually very excited. I'm going to go to the Carousel website and check out the listings for foreclosure and, do a research myself and learn more, perhaps catch more interviews of Nolly himself. And it's just very interesting, right? But before we let you go, please take a look at these key takeaways from Noli Alleje. Now we can make more informed decisions when choosing between RFO, pre-selling, and foreclosed properties. I personally found this discussion quite informative and will make sure to apply these tips you've shared, Sir Nolly, in doing my property buying journey and starting my investments. I learned so much about foreclosures and, of course, the different tips you told me about not putting my eggs in one basket and, of course, looking at the property itself. Everyone, please check out these details from Sir Noli Aleje for his upcoming webinars, where to find him, and his virtual space. Guys, his talks, his upcoming gigs, website, Facebooks, and of course, social media handles are flashed on the screen. Thank you once again, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you so much, Noli Aleje. I hope you had a great time with us because we learned so much from you. There is still a lot more to come, so make sure to check out our webinars happening inside the expo. Also, don't forget to check out Carousel to find the widest selection of properties to choose from that will satisfy every person's needs and budget. In Carousel Property, there's every type of home for every type of person. My name is Vanessa Vergara. Stay safe, everyone, and I hope you all have a great day.